Hi everyone, this is Andrew at Plainview Farm. It has been pretty warm to start the month of March. We've had a lot of short sleeve kind of weather going on. A couple weeks ago I managed to get the garden plowed, and earlier this week I had somebody come out and till it for me. Now there hasn't been what I would call a true garden out here in probably several years. There's been a little bit of planting gone on here and there. We grew some tomato plants. I think maybe, if I remember right, maybe some squash, something like that, a couple years ago. Last year we had big plans. None of that worked out, so we're starting over again this year. So we've got the ground mostly prepared. I've actually got plans to carve out some beds, and maybe we'll get some potatoes planted in the coming days. I've done a little bit of hillbilly engineering to make a better hiller, whatever you want to call it, to make the beds for the garden. This was an old round bale carrier. Used it to carry round bales of hay around, and it was basically just sitting out in the weeds, rusting. The top of it up here, actually where the 3-point link goes onto it, that was broken, that was cracked. The steel had cracked there, and actually you can see where it's bent. I don't think that'll be a problem for what we're doing, but I grooved it, cleaned it up, grooved it, welded that back together up there. And no, I am not a welder. I know how welders can be on the internet, so I am not one. I am a get by, hopefully it doesn't break kind of welder. So as you can see, I cut the arms and then welded them back on at a 45-degree angle and attached these hiller discs, and hopefully this will lay out the beds the way that I'm hoping that it will. Now what I did is I lined up the hiller discs with the rear tires on the 820 John Deere, which is about, I don't know, 34 inches or so, 36, somewhere around 3 feet. I didn't actually measure it perfectly, but that's about where it's at. And that'll make a decent sized bed. So again, the whole idea is for these discs to throw the dirt up and to make some nice deep beds that we can grow our vegetables in this coming growing season. I've not used it before like this, so you're gonna get to see if it works with me. Just enough wind to blow this little gate back. Shovel ought to hold it. been worse, I guess. I have to run the cultivator through it and try again. This is where some stabilizers on the 3-point would be handy. I think it'd do a better job if I put some stabilizers on the 3-point. I'm not going to do that today, though. I think that's probably good enough for now. So if you look at these rows and the waviness to them, inconsistency in them, you can see that, yeah, it'd probably be better if I put some stabilizers on that 3-point. Before I actually plant anything in the garden, I don't know, I may put the cultivator back on the tractor and smooth everything out, and then try to put some stabilizers on there and run that thing through here again and see if I can't get a little bit more consistent, better looking beds. Honestly, I mean, you can grow anything in it. It's merely about looks at this point. The goal is to build some deep beds for the plants here. That's what I'm trying to get to. Like I said, it comes down to optics. That's really all I'm dealing with at this point. So these 3 pigs, well, those 2 and that one, they're going to be making a trip here in the next couple days to freezer camp. They're the last pigs that I'm going to take probably for quite a while. 2 of them are going to individual buyers, and 1 is we're going to process for selling at the farmer's market. And these little pigs right here are growing pretty well. Mom's doing all right. Curly Sue there had 8 piglets, and she looks like she's gonna wean 7. We lost 1 early on, which, you know, it's kind of what they say. You start talking about stuff and then it blows up in your face, and that's kind of what happened. I mentioned in the video, I believe, where these piglets were born, that Curly Sue had never lost a piglet. In fact, she'd raised a couple that were not her own. She's still ahead, you know, having lost 1 piglet, but again, that's just one of the things that happens on a farm. And honestly, I keep going back and forth about what I want to do in the future, whether or not I want to continue to raise piglets, find another boar hog, and keep going that way, or just start buying feeder pigs. Like I said, I keep going back and forth. I'm still not settled in on anything yet whenever it comes to the pigs. And of course, it wouldn't be March without baby goats. As you can see here, this little girl, she's just finished nursing and has laid down for a nap. As of right now, we have 5 little goats on the farm. And for some reason, which I cannot explain, we lost our first 3. I don't know why. I don't know what happened. It's like there was just some sort of failure to thrive kind of thing that went on with all 3 of those. And honestly, it was one of those situations where it was first time mothers, at least on 2 of them. So I don't know. I don't know if that has something to do with it or not, but the last 4 that have been born have done fine. We've only got 2 nannies left to kid. They're both good mothers, so hopefully whatever issues we had are behind us. We've got 2 girls and 3 boys. A little white one there with the black head is a girl. That's a boy right there. Another little billy goat. And then billy goat number 3. Hey, buddy. This one here, he's kind of a pain. He won't stay where his mama puts him. That's his mama right there, the ice cream sandwich looking goat. But wherever she seems to leave him, he'll wander off looking for her and hollering and doing what he does, and that's why his little voice is all raspy. And while we have had a lot of black vulture issues in our neck of the woods recently, in fact, a neighbor of mine told me he had a lot of trouble back in the fall. During his fall calving season, he was fighting them like crazy. And I've seen a few around, specifically right here where I'm at. I haven't, as I said, had any problems. And I'm going to credit that with one thing. Well, 2 things actually, and that's Charles and Bella. Like I said, I've seen vultures flying around, but I've not seen any of them actually get on the ground. And I've got Charles and Bella here. We've stirred up a firestorm now. But we've got Charles and Bella in with all the goats and the cows, and I'm just going to assume that nothing wants to deal with the donkeys. I'll give them all the credit, especially since they don't actually produce anything on the farm. They're just kind of here. So they're here for protection. That's what we have them for. It's what we wanted them for out here with these goats. And I guess, like I said, have to give credit where credit's due. Old Charles, he's the type, he'll take credit anytime he can get it. Won't you, buddy? Won't you, buddy? I also only have 6 bales of hay left to feed, not including what is currently out there for the cows to be eating on. So I figure about 5 or 6 days per bale, so that should get me well into the month of April. I was hoping to get into the month of May, but that doesn't look like that's going to happen. Of course, if the warm weather holds out, which it probably won't because March is usually just a big tease anyway. If the weather happens to hold out, warm weather holds out, we will get some grass growing, and you know, I'll be able to run the cows through at least kind of quickly. You know, I won't be able to put them in and necessarily leave them in any one paddock or pasture, but that ought to relieve some of the pressure on the hay anyway. So I guess that'll do it for this one. As always, I appreciate you watching. We'll see you next time.